Showtime feature presentation.
Hey,
we're
back.
We are back. How long?
And you are too. I don't know, weeks, days, and you are back too, watching us on After the Weekend. Thanks for coming back.
But
if you're
I'm
new,
R2.
No, I'm talking to the fans.
Oh, those people.
Yeah. So if you're new here, thanks for coming back. If you're a regular, thanks for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Wow.
Welcome.
They just left. They just literally just left all because of that. Hope you enjoy our next review. And this is August again, car month. And we just got done reviewing
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yep, and we did American Graffiti at the beginning of the month. So this one is my favorite, one of my favorite car movies in the world, and I think it's on like number 10 sequel, and we're doing Fast and the Furious. Pretty cool, right? Family movie.
Sponsored by Al.
I mean, this movie, who would have thought this movie kicked off a literally a 10 film franchise and more. But before we get started with the review, again, welcome to After the Weekend. My name is JT and this is R2. We have some cool news to share, right? We have a way to tip us, right?
Yes, we do.
I like how I say those things and you're like, I don't know what news you're talking about.
I'm like, there's news. Oh no, what happened? Yes, if you want to support us, you can super chat us at streamelements.com, and you can find that link in the description. We're not live, so it won't come up live, but we'll definitely, if you send us anything, if you want to share a message, more than happy to read it during one of our recordings, and appreciate the support. Everything you donate, it just goes back into the channel and allows us to keep reviewing films. I was going to say, and if there's something you really want, just to watch, and super chat it, we'll review it.
Yeah, we'll review it. The reason why we're mentioning that, because a few of you in the have messaged us directly asking us about that. So, we don't typically shout it out too much, but we're just making sure that that's out there. That's there. So Fast and the Furious, again, set in Los Angeles, California, right? Just like Gone in 60 Seconds. But this one's about a police officer, Brian, and he is undercover trying to take down some, I don't want to call them car thieves. They're more like VCR electronic thieves.
They are merchandise robbers.
Yeah, they're a young crew, and they like to street race, and they like to make their money on the side stealing out of semi trucks. So he's been tasked to take them down. This movie really reminds me when I watched it the first time, and always when I watch it, it reminds me of Point Break, where you have a young cop who basically becomes friends with these outlaws because they do something cool like surfing or car racing.
Yeah.
They're very similar movies. If you've seen both, you would probably agree. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's a really good point. I didn't really think about that, but once you said it, I'm like, yeah, you're totally right on that one.
He even has an old cop trying to mentor him.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's only mentioned
with the gravelly voice, like Gary Busey.
Yes, and but this movie, no one knew. This movie exploded again for a young crew like or a kid like me right out of high school. When I was in high school still, and I just got my license, and everyone had something like these type of cars or wanted the cars in these movies. They were very flashy. They had cool lights. They went fast, and you could make your own modifications, like put a PlayStation in it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, when this came out, I did not have a car like that. I had
Neither did I, but I went to my mom and said, "Hey, can I have some lights?"
But a good chunk of my friends.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Living in California, I'm sure you had quite a few friends.
This was a movie that kind of, I kind of feel like was kind of quick on taking, something that was like a big part of, at least definitely California culture.
Yeah, and it spread from there.
It spread out of there from there, but yeah. I mean, but yeah, when I remember seeing this in the theater with all my friends, and I think I was one of 2 white people in that theater. Not gonna lie.
We saw this movie a lot. The first time we saw it in the movie theater, but then once it hit the dollar theater, we literally, if we were bored and this was at the dollar theater, we went and saw this movie. It was such a it was such a favorite amongst me and my friends. And then Paul Walker was just such a cool cat, cool guy. He was like that person you can probably hang out with. And then of course you had Vin Diesel. That was he seemed like a cool dude as well.
Yeah.
They all seem down to earth people in this movie, to be honest.
Well, I mean, yeah, this was definitely the film, more so Vin Diesel than Paul Walker, though, that, I mean, like, really put his star on the map. He had done the year before, and I remember going to the theater to watch it, Pitch Black, which I really loved that movie. That was a great film. And even prior from that, he was in Saving Private Ryan. And then I remember, like, when Saving Private Ryan came out, there was, or like right before, there was like some Dateline special on like up and coming like actors, directors, and he was one of them. I remember them showing him off on this thing too. So
yeah, he was one of the actors that was coming up during this time period as somebody that could be an action star. Same with Paul. I mean, he was doing other types of movies. I think it was the one where he was in the Blue Water or Blue Crush.
It was like Blue Crush or Into the Deep.
Yeah, and then all of my friends, and we'll probably get into all the actors and characters later, but all my friends had crushes on Vin's lady
sister.
friend. No,
sorry. Oh, Gina Rodriguez. Is it
Gina Rodriguez? No, bro. No, not Gina.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah. What are you doing? This is
sorry.
This is not Mandalorian.
Couldn't think. I'm like, is it Gina?
No.
Michelle Rodriguez. I'm sorry. I am sure she is a very nice person in real life, but she makes like one expression.
Yeah.
And it's she smelled like a nasty fart.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people
like even there. Look at that.
Well, I mean, maybe like, Vin did something.
She like got a whiff.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, right. So this was again another fast movie. It was just high action. There was speed racing, there was drama, of course, and there was all the fun of hanging out in California. I'm sure you went to street races, right? Maybe when you were in your high school.
Yeah, I've seen some street races.
Okay. Well, but as we do, we always do our numbers, so we'll do that next.
I just gotta say, in that picture, they look like an Ace of Base tribute band.
They do. They do. So, okay, so this movie was released in July, or filmed in July and October 2000.
Yeah.
Released in 2001 of June. So budget, I don't know these numbers. You remember?
I kind of do. This
the last
was
video on Gone in 60 Seconds. Gone in 60
that,
Seconds. You didn't.
no, like
remember
that. I
them.
totally forgot. I kind of remember what they wore. Like this was one that I was not, like it wasn't surprising.
I would say again, it was probably around the 100 million, and it probably doubled.
So all I like to say is keep in mind there's no big names in this at this point.
True, but there was a lot of cars. Maybe
there's a lot of cars.
Special effects with the engine scenes.
This was a film, though, a fair amount of cars, where it was kind of like not in all scenes because the studio's paying for them, but some of this stuff were people that they put ads out and were like, hey, come bring your car down to be in the background, things
I
like
thought that was cool. There's a cool story about there's an actor when we get the characters about one of them, but you had the CG scene where he shows the nitrous going through the engine.
But
you had the PlayStation, so that's a lot. So let's see here.
My dad had a conversion van with a Nintendo in it.
Fast and Furious. Okay, yeah, there you go. I was way off. So 38 million. So it's low, really low budget. But they made a ton of money because as you said, this was a fan favorite because this was a culture that this movie tapped into right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, and especially even more so after this came out, there were even more people that were just buying, import brands.
I remember when this movie came out, everyone wanted to try to do like, even with my friends, we would do our own little street races.
People were buying, Hondas, Accords, Toyotas.
Yeah, and even with the second one, Too Fast, Too Furious. I mean, they had the same actor, Paul, come back in, but they even had cooler cars in that one. So and so said this was a whole genre of fans that no one even thought of tapping into at that time and that's why these movies still have sequels, because those fans grew up with this and they watched them over time. They saw the family grow. But that's why a lot of people enjoy these movies, because they grew up watching them. So
what is funny though, because if you like the first three films, like watching those, though, you never would have kind of went that they were going to go into
they weren't, because
spy heist films, though.
Right?
Do you know what I mean?
Because Vin Diesel, he only wanted to do that. He was only going to do this movie. That's why he's not in the second one. And then
he was on the fence of coming back. Yeah,
and he didn't want to really do it. And then they did Tokyo Drift, and he's at the end of Tokyo Drift. And the reason why he's at the end of Tokyo Drift is because he agreed to do Pitch Black 2. Then that spurred this whole thing where he wanted to keep doing these movies. So, you're frozen.
Oh, am I? I was gonna say, one, I thought it was he didn't come back for the second one because he wanted to do the second Riddick film, and it was a much bigger film. And,
right, but they said but they wouldn't let him do it unless he was in the end of Tokyo Drift. He had to be in Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
So if you want to fact check me or
no, but
you can put it in the.
He wanted to do that over doing Fast and the Furious. He wanted to do more. Well, he was also kind of the sole star of that film.
Well, now he has creative light. He has creative say in the new sequel, and the other two he did not.
Well, because the other thing too, he also did right after this with the same director he did Triple X. That was
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm glad these are the ones that continued on, not those movies.
Yeah.
Again, that's why it made so much money. It was just, it tapped into a market, a fan base that was looking for something that they can watch on the screen.
For what it was, I mean, it had a decent budget for its day. But yeah, this was definitely something that totally surprised the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to you earlier. I go, what's the name of this band here?
And I said it's the I'm going to tell my kid that this is the Partridge Family.
No, you said Paul and the Disciples. I like
Paul and the Disciples. Yeah, Paul and the Disciples, and then the Partridge Family.
yeah.
But I mean, no one in this right here is really nowadays. You're like, oh, it's Paul and it's Vin Diesel. But when this movie came out, no one really knew who any of these people were. Maybe a few of them, but there was not a chance that these were high-end actors at that time.
No, and I was gonna say kind of the bad guy of the film, Johnny Tran. I was trying to think. I think before this came out, he was the villain in James Bond.
And his buddy, his friend that like wore the leopard pants.
His cousin.
Yeah.
I was gonna say his cousin. He was in like one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films, but the one that I remember him from all the time is he was in Tropic Thunder, and when Tom Cruise is yelling at him and swearing, he's the guy who's holding the phone, like, who is this? Because he's like, we are white dragon.
And then, I would say that probably the biggest person when this movie came out, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, he's in this movie," would be the rapper Ja Rule. I would assume that was probably the one.
That was definitely the biggest name. So actually, Die Another Day, the James Bond film, came out the year after this one.
He was such a great villain in this that they made him.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it was like our last review. We kept on getting everything wrong for when stuff came out.
But this is the original crew. Some of them do come back in the sequels. Some of them die and come back. Some of them
come back and die.
Or some think they died. They died and they come back. So
now there's one guy in the background there, Lance. Did he ever come back for any of them?
The one, the
his guy with buddy? Like the super gravelly voice right behind Paul Walker.
No, I don't think he came back. No,
gotcha.
He might have been in the fourth one when they were talking on the beach, like reminiscing, but I don't think he got in trouble or something. Like this character, they said he got in trouble or something, like in jail. But the one next to Michelle, he came back.
Yeah, I knew he did.
Obviously, Jess did not because he
spoilers.
Yeah, he gets he doesn't. He's not one of them that comes back.
He gets lead injections.
Now this is these are fun. You have modern vehicles with the classic there, but these are the main cars of the film. And I wish I would have. I just moved. I packed it. I had it built, but now it's all in pieces, and I didn't have time to rebuild it. I have a Lego version of Dom's car, where you can actually like push a button where it hops,
it torques up.
Yeah, it's the coolest Lego I've ever built. And I wish I would have still had. I probably need to go back and build it, but I have it. I just have it. I had to pack it.
I was gonna say the white car in the bottom. I think that's an Accord or an Acura. I'm trying to think who drove that one because that one's not all done up. That's just
it might have just been in the movie. I don't remember. A lot of them had, my friend had that red truck, the
Ford Lightning. Yeah, I knew a few people that had those.
Yeah.
Now.
And that's an Eclipse, I believe, in the green.
So I was gonna say after I had my Yukon, because I mentioned that in the last review we did. I did get a second generation Scion XB, 2008, and I did put an underglow kit on it. I love that car. I wish I had kept it. I had me and my brother went and put these. We each got one. We put these underglow kits, and we got one that. It actually it would hook up to the stereo, and you could actually have like the music, like it would go with the beat, like it would do two different colors. And that was the closest I ever got to it. I liked it because it was a tiny car that was huge on the inside.
You remember spinners?
Yes, the Spreewells.
Well, if anyone knows what spinners are, they're hubcaps pretty much on your car, and so when you stop, they would continue spinning. So it looked like your car was floating. Yeah.
Well, during this time, my family owned a hobby shop in Northern California, and there was a company that made spinners for RC cars.
Well, there was like really good spinners, the metal, like really fancy ones that were expensive, and then you had these
like
plastic,
the AutoZone ones,
the AutoZone ones that you would buy at AutoZone, and they're plastic or something.
So a company, I was going to say they made them, and they didn't really work for the cars. They were just too small. But the ones for the trucks that they made actually spun really well, and we had some on a display truck. But I just remember there was this one time this big dude came in. He's wearing headphones, and he's just doing his own thing. But he came walking up, and he like flicked one of them, and he went, "Spinner."
Yeah, it was fun, right? You had a fun time with that. Now, Dom's car, it's a character that comes back in a lot of the movies. That's a Challenger there, or Dodge Charger, and 1970, and it goes through all the movies pretty much. He has that all the way through. It's literally its own character. And then Brian, he eventually gets a Skyline GTR, and those were cars that you couldn't even buy in America. So like that was when you saw that on screen. I remember in the second movie when he had that, you were, whoa.
Well, I was gonna say I think U.S. law, like I don't think you could have driven it on the street legally. You could have one and you could put it on a track, but I want to say in the U.S. imports have to be at least 20 or 25 years.
What is that in the background?
I'm sorry, it's my dog. He's playing with one of his toys.
Yes. So again, every video you might see the dog Bumper. So if you say hi to him in the comments for us, that would be fantastic. Yes. So here are some more of the cars. We have Brian's, we have Jess's, the Jetta. I think it's funny that was his dad's, that he was in prison.
Yeah.
Letty's is the what was that again? I think
that was
I can't remember. I know it's not the RX-7. They get that later, but I can't remember which one that was, to be honest. Again, comment.
Actually, I almost wonder if is that a Nissan or is that an Acura? Because you can see it there in the picture in that drawing on the side.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Those drawings there.
Yeah, I was trying to find a higher resolution of that picture, and I just couldn't. That was about as big as I could make it, where it still looked decent.
Yeah, and you don't have it pictured here. Oh no, yes you do. The S2000 that actually came out in 2000, and a lot of people were, all about that car.
Though I don't get like what was with all of Dom's crew. Everybody had to have some type of silver mascot sticker on the side.
Yeah, that was cool because that was like their brand, their tag.
Yeah,
like you when you saw that car out, you get, okay, that's the crew with Dom. So I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, a lot of fun, cool cars. A lot of kids back then try to mimic a lot of this stuff to try to be a Fast and the Furious driver. So do you have fun facts for this one?
I unfortunately do not, but I can share some. I just wasn't able to make a slide for that.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, since you don't have a slide to share the fun facts, we'll share this slide, which is
Now, I don't know if a Supra could beat a Ferrari.
It depends on who's driving the car, R2.
I guess so. I was gonna say in that bottom picture, like I never noticed it until when I was putting these together, but from from the angle, the Supra really looks like a lot like a Camaro there.
Yeah, and that's not Paul Walker in the car either.
No. Nor do I think that's Vin Diesel.
No, though. Yeah, the Supra was his 10-second car that he had to earn back to get in good graces with Dom's character. So basically, really, I know you're gonna have some fun facts here, but basically, yeah, Brian ends up becoming friends with Dom's crew. He has a predicament where he has to either do his job or don't betray his friends. And I think we'll talk about it later, but I think the way it ends is nice. It's a good ending of what he does.
Yeah. Well, so Jordana Brewster and Michelle Rodriguez did not have driver's license.
Nice.
When they were cast, they had to go get learner's permits.
Interesting.
Actors considered for the role of Brian O'Connor before Paul Walker was cast were Christian Bale, Mark Wahlberg, and Eminem.
Yeah, he was but Mark, maybe he might have been. He was about the same age. He probably would have done well.
Yeah, I couldn't see Christian Bale in this type of role, but like we said before, because I threw out a fact that Timothy Olyphant was the original choice for Dominic Toretto, but he turned it down to do Gone in 60 Seconds instead, and then they offered it to Vin Diesel. And we were saying he would have been a good choice for Brian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but for Mia Toretto was originally written for Elijah Dushku, which I could see her doing that role. But she turned it down, so they offered it to Natalie Portman, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Kristen Dunst, which I cannot see her at all, along with Bjorn Phillips and Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could have done that. Any one of them could have played her, but she was good. So
the Volkswagen that Jesse drives was later purchased by Frankie Muniz.
Fitting.
He's very big into I want to say like NASCAR.
He is.
Or maybe
I
it's
think
Formula
he actually.
One.
No, it's both.
It's both.
I think he just racing. I think he actually. I think he's actually set to do a race soon.
Okay. He. I mean, he's got the build for it for being a little guy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the company I work for sponsored a not Formula One, but whatever's the circuit below that, and one of the big trade shows, or the driver they sponsor was there, and they had his car, and just how tiny, like I couldn't fit in there.
Yeah, you got to be. It's like a fighter jet pilot.
Oh yeah.
So this scene though was really there at the end where it was like the final race, right? Because Dom was trying to get away because he already knows that Brian is a cop.
Yeah.
This scene, remember in the beginning of this video, I mentioned this movie has some comparisons to Point Break. This reminds me of the scene where Keanu Reeves goes to the beach to finally catch Patrick Swayze, and it's like when the massive wave is happening, it's like this is like the one and only wave, like never happen again, right? Storm type of environment, and he lets him do it. Keanu says, just go do it, and if you come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't. So this is kind of what this happens at the end here. Basically they get into one last race. He tries to. I don't remember. They kind of like they tie, but then they get hit by a truck. They jump through like a train.
Well, Dominic gets hit by a truck.
Dom gets hit by a truck, yeah. But it's like at the end there, he goes, "Here's your keys. Here's your car. Go before I change my mind." And we had a similar thing with this in Gone in 60 Seconds as well, where the cop to Memphis Reigns was like, you saved my life, so here, go on. I won't arrest you. So I don't know if that really happened in real life, but anyways,
I didn't see you shoot that man.
But yeah, this scene right here is kind of also reminds me of Point Blank, where Keanu says, "Look, you can go surf, and if you come back, we'll arrest you. But if you don't, then we'll consider you dead." So, pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's just a fun. It's a neat way to end a movie like this. It's kind of like the good and the good cop and the villain. I think it's a story that a lot of us have seen in other movies, but
Well, I got one more bit of casting that I'll share,
okay.
and it's pretty funny. So the director, Rob Cohen, he actually has a cameo in the film. He's the pizza delivery guy who, when they first line up for the street race, and Leon's like, "Go home, pizza boy."
Oh yeah,
That's the director of it, Rob Cohen. His original choices for Dominic, Brian, and Jesse were Mario Lopez, Mark Paul Gosselaar, and Dustin Diamond.
Dustin Diamond from Seinfeld? No, not Seinfeld. From Saved by
No,
the Bell?
they're all from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, wait, those names sound familiar.
They were like, no, this is going to confuse people because they're going to be like, why is Saved by the Bell street race?
Oh, no. No.
Might as well just have Saved by the Bell Street Life.
The street years.
Street years, meth years. But yeah, it's just again, it's just a fun movie. Now there she is. Now you say that face, and I just see the face now.
Now I know a lot of people who love this film. I will admit, for me, my wife loves this.
Love this film. I love the franchise. I literally own it.
For me, this is not nearly as beloved as it is for you, for me as it is for you. But
it's okay.
I was gonna say my favorite one of the bunch, and I haven't seen all of them, but my favorite one of the bunch, and most people I know don't like it, is I love the third one.
Tokyo Drift. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
That's one of my favorite. It's a lot more fitting, I feel like. I just, for kind of what these movies were.
Yeah.
Now, but kind of after that, with the fourth one, the kind of the dynamic of the film really changed, and it really became an entirely different franchise.
Well, they were kind of older, and they were still thieves.
Yeah, but I remember they did the third one. It didn't do well. I remember seeing it on, one of my friends was like, "Oh, come on, you got to watch it. It's great." And I was like, "All right." And we watched it. I was cracking up because I knew a guy like the main character, like a hick that loved muscle cars.
Yeah, and it introduced drifting. I mean, they were drifting over in Japan for years. You had the anime Initial D, where it was a whole anime about drifting and street racing. And then they capitalized on that over there, and it just fed into this beast of a movie. Now, I get what you're saying. Most people don't like the genre. This don't like the movie, or these types of movies, but they're just fun to watch. Well, I'm surprised you haven't seen all of them with your wife. Like
I was gonna say is, though, I remember when they said they were doing a fourth one, and I just went like, I was like, really? They're doing a fourth one? And then when they kind of even said that Vin Diesel, Paul Walker coming back, I'm like, God, those guys are desperate for work. And then I remember seeing the trailer, and I was like, that looked good.
Yeah, when I heard it was coming back, I was literally super excited. Now I do have one thing to say. I did, honestly, I think I watched only one after one of the movies that Paul passed away. I just felt like it wasn't it really wasn't the same without him. When he passed away, I was such a big fan of his, and it hit hard. It was like, because it's like you think of it, one of your favorite actors, and like and they go too soon. There's quite a few out there, and he was one of those. And I watched the Hobbs and Shaw side movie. I did watch another. I think I did watch the one where they go to space, but it just wasn't the same without Paul. Like it just really wasn't. He brought something to these movies. He brought that really cool surfer dude. Like everything's chaotic and Dom's like super stressed out, and then you have Paul who comes in and is like, "Nah, man, we're good."
Yeah, I remember when he died. I mean, it was very shocking.
It
for
was
a lot of, to a lot of people. It was very sad too. I mean, just what had happened, but at the
he
same
wasn't
time,
even driving.
but still, I mean, just they crashed and the car caught on fire. Like that's who. But what I was gonna say is, at least though you kind of go. It's one of those things where it's like they could have recasted him, and I think that would have been really clunky and awkward. I mean, outside of getting one of his brothers to do it, but his brothers really aren't.
Well, his brothers did some of the final scenes there in the last movie.
But they're not real actors though, too. So
no, and they did the scenes where they was like far away, or they put Paul's face on him.
But the fact that they gave the character a happy send off is nice. That they got that opportunity.
Yeah, he had a family.
That's not something that gets to happen a lot in films when there's a tragedy in real life. Right?
And they didn't base the whole movie off of that tragedy.
No, they didn't do that. Well, because they had essentially filmed the majority.
I know,
they had to change some of it, but yeah, it wasn't like he died and that was like a big part of the plot.
The one thing, and Vin Diesel's character mentions it in this movie. He says, "Brian, never lose your like chill factor. Like, don't ever lose that cool about you, because that's how you get on. That's how you move on in this world. Like that's absolutely correct. Paul brought that to every movie in this film, every scene. He was the cool. Everything's chaotic, but I'm going to be here. Like, hey, I almost had you, bro. Type of thing. Like he was just a fun dude. I do remember watching. Do you remember those? And we'll wrap it up here soon. Do you remember the TV show MTV Cribs?
Yeah.
So Paul Walker did an MTV Cribs, and they were like, okay, I don't know if this is real or not. It could have all been scripted, but apparently he was sleeping in his surfer wagon when they first pulled up to where he was. And like, this is my surfer wagon. I sleep here. I go surf, in the mornings. And then he takes him to this house, and he's like, I don't even know that dude. I think there's food in this fridge. And like, he was just like total like super surfer, like chill. Like there's like a random person on my couch. It could have all been fake. Who cares? I don't know. But it was, he did that kind of stuff. He was that kind of fun personality that I thought that was just enjoyable. But yeah, it was a shame. It was sad when he passed, but he brought a special thing to these movies, and yeah. So, final thoughts from you?
It's definitely a classic of of that decade. I mean,
why are we doing final thoughts? Oh my gosh, I'm getting all.
Oh, we didn't do what was in theaters, right?
We need to do in theater. Look at me. I'm just rambling about my man crush. So in the theaters, we're going to wrap up the movie with this. Obviously, Fast and the Furious, Dr. Dolittle 2, Lara Croft. We just reviewed Gone in 60 Seconds. We just mentioned that. Shrek, the first one. Oh, Pearl Harbor.
Swordfish.
Baby Boy. Yeah.
I saw that in the theaters.
I'm sure you did. The Mummy Returns. Memento. That's the director of that movie just made a movie about that came out recently. Yeah. Oppenheimer. And then we've got
I hear that movie's the bomb.
Oh my gosh.
Where was the drum?
It's crickets. Memento, like I said, Bridget Jones's Diary. Okay. Right.
The Animal. Wasn't that the one? Yeah, that's the Rob Schneider one.
Mm-hmm. The Animal, yeah. Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. Wasn't Swordfish the one where like a certain someone flashed something? I can't remember.
Yeah. That's when Wolverine sees Storm's Chi-Chis.
Some fun movies there. You could go every weekend and have a good time.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you really did see Baby Boy in the theater?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Though I think we left though. Something happened and we had to leave, and I can't remember who I was with when I went and watched that, but
well, I mean, it beat out this movie. Fast and Furious beat out Dr. Dolittle and Baby Boy, so good for them.
Well, a lot of things beat out Baby Boy.
Evolution. You know, that's a movie we should review.
That's
a fun movie.
No?
Okay, you seem to not either. Comment below if you want us to review.
I haven't seen that in a long time. Like I think I saw that once.
Yeah, that's a really fun one.
But I do remember Kaka Tuki Tuki.
Oh my goodness. That kind of sounds like one of our sponsors.
Prune candy.
I was gonna say I have a story about that saying.
Oh yeah?
I don't know if I should tell it or not.
Okay, maybe when we review Evolution, you can bring it back up.
All right.
Okay. Final thoughts on Fast and Furious again.
If you haven't seen it, I mean, you definitely got to see it at least once. Like I said, I mean, this was, definitely something. I mean, when you think of the 2000s, I mean, this goes hand in hand.
Oh yeah, this is a 2000 movie. Mm-hmm.
Very much, it was based off of a culture from that area, and it created a culture, even bigger from it. But yeah, like you said, I mean, this is a beloved franchise, and there's a reason why there's 10 of them. I mean,
yep. And they always have a scene with a big party and cars.
They do. But I mean, I'll be honest. Like when this movie came out, I mean, even if you liked it and you're like, they'll do a sequel, I don't think anybody ever thought there would be 10 of them.
No.
Now, what's interesting though is I don't think there's anybody who is in all 10 films.
No.
I apologize if you can hear my dog.
It's okay. All I hear is crunching.
He is crunching on a giant rawhide bone.
That's what she said.
All right, folks. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Hopefully you made it all through here. And if you did, that's great. Hit the like button and share with us with your friends. If you remember the memories of this movie and you're like, hey, these guys brought up some cool memories, share it with your friends and let us know. We can also, if you want to support us, you can get a nice, cool, I guess this would be like a 2080-ish looking t-shirt that you can wear at your, what do you call it? The car street racing. So yeah, you get your logo there, our logo after the weekend dash logo. Take 20% off with the code ATW and go visit
ATW
us
20.
Yeah.
20.
20. Did I miss the code? Okay.
You just said ATW.
I did. Well, it was on the screen. Hopefully they can read.
What if somebody's listening?
Oh. ATW 20. Got it? Okay.
Got it.
Alrighty. All right. Out of us, who would be Vin?
I guess me, because I have a closer haircut to him.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, folks. Rick, have a good night.
You too.
We'll see you all
Bye,
again.
everybody.
See you. Bye.